All right, welcome in to the High Noon Rant. I am Pugs Moran. We do this every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m.-ish, 12:05, 12:06, 12:08 in today's case. Every day since 2021. That's right, 3 years. Doing the show 3 years, 3-year anniversary coming up. Oh, we're going to do nothing. We're going to do absolutely nothing to celebrate it. As a matter of fact, there's a very good chance that the day passes and I don't even realize it. And then one of you guys let me know. And I'm like, oh, really? It was? So that's coming up. How are you today? Hold on. I need a drink. What the hell is that? Hold on. The hell? Okay. Look what I found. What is this even? Look what I found. It's a Taco Bell mild sauce that has been stuffed into the drawer here at the desk, the setup in the studio where I do the show. What this tells me, I'll put my detective cap on. What this tells me is that there was a 14-year-old boy eating Taco Bell here in the studio area. And instead of getting up and throwing his empty mild sauce, because he's a pussy, mild sauce, instead of throwing his mild sauce away, he just stuck it in dad's drawer, which, that makes sense. That tracks, as they say. But we will not hold that against him because it's his birthday this weekend. So gearing up, getting mentally ready to be Mr. Positive, Mr. Fun, Mr. Happening. It's that's not always easy when you got the brain scramblies like I do. The press, sometimes it makes you. So kid's birthday is you got to fight it with everything. So we're not going to get bent out of shape about him just sticking his garbage, being too lazy. Swear to God, my mom is laughing her ass off right now. She's just rolling on this. Seriously, in my desk drawer, that was the best spot for him at the time. He didn't want to get up and walk 5 feet across the room and put it in the garbage. He just in that moment decided, dad's desk drawer. But it's his birthday, as I say. So we're going to forget all that stuff. Who am I kidding? He does it because he knows he can get away with it. Because I'm just like, what is this, idiot? And then he's like, what? And I'm like, this, you moron. And he's like, what? And I'm like, ugh. And then I walk out of the room. That's our relationship. Oh, speaking of, he calls me last night. So look, I will point out when he's being the little con man that he can be, but I'll also, he calls me last night. He's walking the dog. He's got a lot on his mind. Kid's a freshman in high school. He's got a lot on his mind. Apparently, he's in all these AP classes. Dad brag. Thank you. So he's in all these advanced placement classes and all this stuff. And he dominates, he just dominates the classroom. He's very competitive. He gets that from his mother, certainly not from me. But they took a practice in one of these AP classes. Or this might have been like a nerd club. He might be in a nerd club with all the other nerd smart kids, where they after school, they sit around and they talk about how do we be bigger nerds? I don't know. But he took a practice with a class. He took a practice, not ACT, SAT test. In the Midwest, we took the ACT. We didn't take these SATs. He was a freshman. He's a freshman. So he took this test. Apparently he scored extremely well on it. I don't know those numbers, so I can't tell you. Anyway, without practicing, just whatever, he took it as a freshman and he scored extremely well. So he's walking the dog last night and he's like, Dad, so here's what I'm going to do. You want to hear my plan? Oh God. And I'm like, yeah, I do. Yes, I do want to hear your plan, but oh my God, I can tell that this is going to be something that's going to be expensive down the road. I don't know what this plan is, but I guess is that how all parents look at it? Look at stuff like their kids when they got these grand plans. So my kid goes, here's my plan. Do you know what the super SAT is? And I didn't. I was like, but I'm his dad in this moment and he thinks I'm smart. So I was like, oh yeah, of course, that. And he's like, okay, so here are the list of colleges that accept super ACTs. Because I'm thinking I'm going to do the super ACT. And I'm like, oh, really? And I didn't know whether to be excited because I didn't know what it was. And I was too cowardly to admit to the kid that I didn't know what he was talking about. So he explains it to me. Apparently, there's like some program in high schools where you take the ACT every year. And instead of just taking it like when you're a junior or a senior, and I don't know, it's got some benefits. He was very excited about it, but that's what's going on in his mind. That and football. He's got a scrimmage on Saturday. We're very excited. His birthday is Saturday. Got to wake up. I'm not so excited about waking up at 6:30. He's got to be at the field at 7:30 Saturday morning on his birthday for a live scrimmage at 8 a.m. So I'm keeping the head straight. I'm keeping the head straight for the good weekend ahead. The dog is already pulling her shit. I do this show with no sidekicks other than the dog. The dog is already pulling her shit today. Where you going? Where you going? Come here. Well, come here. Why don't you try? Can she be seen? Yeah, you see her head right there. That's a corner. She's just staring at the corner. How are you going to get out? I don't think dogs can go backwards. Anyway, I mean, I know they can go backwards. I don't think they like to go backwards. Look at her. She's turning around. She's turning around. Can we see? No, I don't want to screw with the camera. Well, go ahead. Go. You came through that way, so you know you can fit. Give her a little room. There you go. A little more room. There you go. Just a little room. You know what else I was thinking about that Taco Bell thing just now? My kid, he stuffed an empty Taco Bell mild sauce in the drawer right beside me. You know what I was thinking about the Taco Bell thing? Taco Bell, man. Think about that company. Think about that as an institution here in America. Taco Bells really didn't exist for me until like 1990. I once went to a Taco Bell in the 80s, but it was like 5 towns away. I mean, Taco Bells used to be exotic. They weren't on every corner. They weren't everywhere. You know, there wasn't a Starbucks, a Taco Bell, a McDonald's, and a vape shop, of course, a couple of vape shops. But that wasn't the case with Taco Bell. Now they're everywhere. And here's what they've done by rapidly expanding in the way. First of all, even in the 80s, when you had to go like 5 towns away to find a Taco Bell, even in the 80s, it was exotic. It was good. Like, because you're just used to like Burger King and McDonald's, right? And now all of a sudden, what are these called? Burritos? You know, you're eating these things. So it was exotic and it was good. And then they started to rapidly expand. And I tell you this, man, when I was a kid, you McDonald's, it was like McDonald's. If you were 10 years old and they're like, let's go to McDonald's, you were like, yeah, McDonald's for the win. That's Taco Bell now. That ain't McDonald's anymore. Taco Bell dominates with kids, man. Kids love Taco Bell. Teens, whatever. And I can see why. It's delicious. Taco Bell is still absolutely delicious. Look, I'm not going to get into you. I'm not my Mexican friend. That ain't Mexican. Stop it. Shut up. Nobody thinks it's Mexican. It's like it's Mexican flavored. That's what it is. And that's the trick that Taco Bell has been able to do. They've been able to enchant us with these mythical food dishes from a far off land that we in Ohio, have no idea. What is that? A chimichanga? What's it called? We don't know. A quesadilla? Nobody knows. Nobody knew. But here's what Taco Bell did. They got us all bedazzled by the idea of eating something exotic. And then they made everything taste the same. That's everything, as my friend Emil pointed out once, just brilliantly. He said, Taco Bell, everything tastes the same. It's just a different shape. And that was just genius. And that's what Taco Bell figured out. They're like, we don't really have to master the art of making this dish or that dish. Americans love the exotic Mexican spices. That flavor palette is something that appeals to them. So let's just make a flavor. And then let's put it in burritos and let's put it in tacos and let's put it in quesadillas or whatever. That's the brilliance of Taco Bell. They make one thing. They just shape it completely different. And then we buy it. The other thing that they've got that Mountain Dew Baja Blast, which my son always gets. Now, I'm a dyed-in-the-wool Mountain Dew disliker. I've never liked this. I've always thought it was like trailer park stuff. It just looked garbage water. I never liked it. And my son, he started getting the Baja Blast, Mountain Dew Baja Blast. That's delicious. And we did a taste test once, the kind of thing that people might do and film and put on Instagram or something. But we compared the Baja Blast at Taco Bell, which I believe you can only get at Taco Bell. I say they should bottle that shit. we compared a Baja Blast to a Sonic Ocean Water. And the Baja Blast was a million times better. The Taco Bell Baja Blast, I'm saying it right now, is better than the Sonic Ocean Water. It's the same drink, essentially. It's basically the same thing, but one has more flavor. And that's the good folks at Mountain Dew. Hi, James. Let's say hi to the chat room. James is here. We got Shmee. Yes, that's what it is. Taco Bell is Mex adjacent. I love that. Byron is here. It's delicious, but never happy afterwards. That sounds like a you thing, Byron. That sounds like, because, I can handle the Taco Bell pretty well. I can. You know what have been giving me problems, though, lately as I age? Buffalo wings. Like Buffalo wings are sliding right out lately. That's a conversation for another show. Who else do we have in the chat room here? Let me look and see. Let's see our people. Barney. Thank you, Barney. Chuck. Thank you. Chuck reminds me. Chuck and a couple others of you snuck in yesterday, the last day of fundraising. We do a pledge week. We needed to raise $100 yesterday. I think that's down to like we didn't make it. But some of you helped out. They got us closer. We didn't make it. Third month in a row. But I'll tell you this: a number of you stepped up and tipped multiple times, and man, I really appreciate that. I can't believe that there are. First of all of you, people who look. I've been doing this for 3 years. I wouldn't do this for 3 years if there was only like 2 people showing up, and one of them was a cousin, right? You people choose to check this out every day. This is like your little midday show that you listen to. You listen to a middle-aged fat man just narcissistically streaming his thoughts into the ether, and I appreciate that. So, and many of you do contribute and tip and help this show keep going. You guys are awesome. And many of the ones that do, I hope it's because you can't. I hope it's just because it's not a big deal, right? Yeah, it's not a big deal. I'll throw a little something there. And for those of you who can't, hey, I get it. I can't either. I can't tip this show, so I get it. And for us, for the rest of us, just it's a nice little community that we've built, and I appreciate you. I really do. So yeah, we didn't make it, but that's okay. You can still it's open today. You want to try and get there? I think we're at like $75 or something. No, I think it's less than that. Because Barney, that's a gentleman for you. So Barney, he got in there. But we're not going to let that ruin the weekend. No. Thank you, guys. Thank you to everybody. We got way closer than I ever thought we would when we started. And if not for Jameson, it is going to come down to Jameson. Jameson is the one that got us within striking distance. He dropped the bomb. And collectively, there were a couple other bombs dropped this month. April, Leslie C. and Christina P. And I don't want to leave anybody out. And I also don't want to turn this into a forensic exam of how the tips come in month to month, because nobody needs to know, what so-and-so is tipping versus so. I don't want to do that. But thank you. Thank you to the folks that keep the show alive. And there will probably be interruptions in the near future, only because I gotta get a job. I'm probably gonna have to take meetings. I'm gonna have to do things. Yeah. So, but again, this is a big weekend. We're gonna stay up and positive for the weekend. All right, let's get started with the show. The show is performed. I love you, Leslie. I love you, James. I love you. I love all you guys. Any dudes, just you hang out here to hear me talk about the world, because that's what this show is. I'm going to tell you everything that's happening in the world today. I wake up super early. These days, even earlier. I've been waking up like 7 a.m. to walk the dog at 7:30. Why? Because I live in a school neighborhood. There's a middle school right across the street. And the kids, and none of these kids, oh God. All these rich kids in this neighborhood that I live around. Bunch of rich kids. I swear to God. None of them take buses. There are no buses. Everybody's mom in their Teslas or their Range Rovers, everybody's mom or dad drives them to school. And the ones that don't drive to school, they walk the sidewalks. So for about 20 minutes every morning, twice, I think there's like 2 shifts. Like schools, the school starts in 2 different shifts. I don't know. Anyway, every morning there's like these 20-minute windows where I can take the dog out for a walk. So I've been taking her out earlier. And I can't take her out when the kids are flooding the streets and the cars are everywhere because the dog is a ridiculous animal. She just can't handle that much stimulus. First of all, she's never going to go to the bathroom. She's going to because inevitably a mom is going to be sitting there unloading her kids on the corner so that they can walk the extra half block to the school. She'll be unloading the kids from the car, and there'll be a dog in the car, and the dog will start talking shit. And my dog doesn't let other dogs talk shit to her. So now my dog is, you should see what my dog has to wear to go out in public. I hope she's embarrassed when other dogs see her. I hope when other dogs see her with her multiple leashes and her extra strong harness. Seriously, it's insane because she sees things like squirrels and then just goes nuts and like she can't be controlled because 75 pounds of pure beef and raw athlete. And I'm a fat man trying to walk her. And so what inevitably happens is I have to grab hold of her harness and then just lay on her, just on the grass, lay on her and put her in a headlock until she calms down. Good times. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, all these kids and whatever. Oh, I saw something funny today, though. There's a guy across the street. He's got a Bentley. He's got a really nice Bentley. It's a nice Bentley, probably $150,000 Bentley. Didn't start this morning. So for about 10 minutes, we were out there with this big moving truck. I took the dog out for a walk because I wanted to see it. I wanted to make eye contact with him. When he's standing next to his $150,000 car that's probably got about 10,000 miles on it, and it won't start in his driveway. I wanted to make sure we made eye contact. I wanted to make sure that man knew that this man was judging him. Do you know how many Malibus you could have bought for that $150,000? Probably 20 Malibus. I don't know what they cost. The show is a stream of consciousness. What's that? That's just whatever I'm thinking. Whatever's on deck next, it comes out loud and clear. Stream of consciousness. It's what we do here. Try to keep it within, a lane. There's a lane there. We talk about current events. We execute the show in 4 quarters. First quarter is something that we like to call antecedently on this day. That's just this day in history. You've heard it a million times before, but not like this because I'm nuts. Quarter 2 is birthdays. Birthdays is, well, come on. What do I need to explain birthdays? It's people who are having a birthday today. They're celebrities, and we just go, are they cool or not? Do we wish them a happy birthday? Quarter 3 is deads. These are the people who've died. These are the people who've died. Shout out to Jim Carroll. The deads, that's fun. That's where we open up a person's life and we look at it and what's that called? We overturn stones. We overturn some stones and we decide when they died where they go, heaven or hell. We stand in judgment in quarter 3. And then quarter 4 is everything else. For quarter 4 is all the headlines, hot topics, current events, buzzwords, whatever it is, trending, whatever it is that people are talking about or buzzing about. That's what I give you in quarter 4. All right. Show has got to end at 2 because I got to go do some, shopping. Birthday shopping. So it's going to be extra freaking expensive. No, that's fine. That's fine. We don't need vegetables. Just buy an extra bag of chips. And then I gotta go run around. So we're going to end the show at 2 today. Typically, we might run a little bit over, but I got stuff meeting with my girl Lacey and my guy Brandon later this afternoon. Very excited about that. Got to get to the bank. Very excited about that. Really got to get there. It's got to be like before close of business today. You know how they have weird banking rules about making payments and stuff. Anyway. Oh, Jeff is here. Hi, Jeff. Hugh is here. Hi, Hugh. Hi, Hugh. Chevy announced today they will stop making the Malibu. That's some breaking news out of Hugh. That's a Malibummer. Now I have the Maliblues. I say Malibu to that. Oh, my God. There's so many puns I can do. That's what this show is. It's the news and then just me narcissistically ranting about them. All right, let's get started. It is I'm going to leave up the tip jar. If you want to tip something, that'd be great. If not, It's okay. We'll take a break now for a few weeks before we push again and pledge week for next month if we get there. We'll see. Let's get started. It is the 9th day of May, year of our Lord, 2024. May 9th is the 130th day of the year. And did you know that means quick math? There's 236 days remaining until the end of the year. Let's get started with quarter one of this here showgram. We call this Antecedently on This Day. It's really just this day in history. Antecedently on this day in 1862. Scratch that. Antecedently on this day in 1662. The eyes tricked me. Thought it was 1862. It was 1662. The figure who later became known as Mr. Punch makes his recorded first appearance in England. Now, it wasn't recorded because it was 1662. Mr. Punch. Who is Mr. Punch? Well, Mr. Punch is the star of a genre of British comedy that has, well, it began in 1662 on this day. It is known more commonly as the Punch and Judy Show. The Punch and Judy Show. There are millions of variations of the Punch and Judy Show that we've seen over the years, but typically the classic version of a Punch and Judy Show is a puppet show done in like medieval times where like, and they would make fun of things and all that. But the star, they make fun of current events and the king and the queen, and, the puppets would do all that stuff. But the centerpiece of the Punch and Judy Show was Mr. Punch and his wife, Judy. They were what people paid to see. They would show. And by the way, it wasn't just one dude who toured the country as Punch and Judy. It was like there were no copyrights or nothing. There were just millions of these shows that popped up. But today was the first. And basically, here's the joke. Okay, this was a joke that was embraced by humanity for hundreds and hundreds of years. And it was something that was okay to laugh at. Punch and Judy is just spousal abuse. Mr. Punch just beats the shit out of his wife, Judy, to the delight of everyone, because Judy did something that was, it's funny. I used to work on a show in Chicago called The Kevin Matthews Show. And Kevin Matthews is an absolute genius. And Kevin did a version of a Punch and Judy show as a radio bit with two characters that just were organically created. They were called Bernie and Bunny. And, it's funny. I've thought about that show in the years, that bit in the years since. And I thought, wow, I go, I can see that. I can see that'd be problematic today. You couldn't do that today on the radio. And, I guess the reason is because spousal abuse isn't funny. But isn't making it parody, isn't it? I mean, I guess the question is, does comedy force you to think about an issue in ways that you maybe wouldn't? Or does the comedy normalize the issue so that you don't? I don't know. That's the debate. But I'll tell you, Kevin Matthews' Bernie and Bunny sketch on the radio, those were hysterical. they were hysterical because they were absurd. Because they were just Anyway, Punch and Judy shows. The very first one, Mr. Punch, the lead character in the Punch and Judy shows, was introduced on this day in 1662. Antecedently on this day in 1941. The German submarine U-110 is captured by the Royal Navy. On board is the latest Enigma machine, which Allied cryptographers later used to break coded German messages. That's right, the code breakers. This was the turning point of the war, I'll tell you. This was big. And it's a fascinating story. And the guy who did it is a fascinating man and a heroic man, and the entire free world owes him a debt of gratitude. They made a movie about him. What was it called? Something Code or something. They made a movie about this dude. And I didn't see it. And apparently it was a good movie. And apparently, did he win an award? I don't even know who was in it. Is it Bumperdink Humperdunk? Isn't that him? I think it starred Bumperdink Humperdunk. I think that's the guy who starred in it. Byron wants to know, did Judy deserve it? Well, what did Judy say? That's what I want to know. Yeah. I mean, you can reasonably look at it through the lens of 2024 and go, yeah, that probably shouldn't be done today. Okay, check. Take that bit off my thing, off my list of bits. So the Enigma machine was discovered on board a seized German U-boat. And they made a movie about it, and I didn't see the movie. And you know why I didn't see the movie? Because I already knew about the dude. I already knew the dude was like really famous, but and really heroic and did something incredibly great with his brain, not with his muscles and his courage or his heart, but he did it with his brain. And I thought, you know, we don't have enough heroes that we really exalt for fine work with the human brain. And he used his, and he broke the Enigma code. I didn't see the movie because for some reason Hollywood decided that the most important thing about this guy was that he was gay. And it was like, and he's gay. And he's gay. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck who he sleeps with, man. The guy's a hero. Just tell his story. And if there are scenes where he goes home to his boyfriend, so be it. You know, but you don't have to be like, this is so gay. That's the issue that normal people are having with the liberal left. And again, you know, this is not, people don't know what I am. I'm all over the board. Why? Because as I say, there is 15% of this country who's absolutely nuts and they're on the right. And there's another 15% of this country who's absolutely nuts and they're on the left. And then there's 70% of us, all different shades of blue and purple and orange and red, whatever. We're here in the middle. We're the group of people, we're the 70% of reasonable Americans who believe that common sense should be applied in all of these things. And there is no reason that common sense would dictate that one of the most important things to know about this man is that he was gay. Needlessly exploitive and provocative on the part of Hollywood. And they hide themselves behind the veil of, well, people should know. No. Why? See, I'm sorry, maybe I'm too old school on this. People don't need to know who you are sexually. And that's not to say that you need to hide it. Nobody needs to hide it. But it's just as ugly for me to see a gay man in 2024 who is behaving in a manner that is just, you know, all about branding himself as a gay man. That is just as upsetting to me as D-bag hetero guys are like, God, fuck that. You see, they're both fucking disgusting. They're both, and nowhere in how I judge a human being should that ever come into play unless it's as overt as in the ways I just described. Who you stop? I don't need to know. Anyway, Hollywood did it. They ruined that movie for me. I don't even know what it's called. And I like Bumper Dink Honker Honk. I like that actor. I see him in a lot of stuff. I would see him again. It's just, that was just one of the examples of how Hollywood is trying to make us think a certain way when we don't need to have these divisive things. These are divisive devices. That's two different words. Are they two different words? Are they? Oh my God, now I'm thinking about that. Stream of consciousness. All right, get back on the road. Hollywood seems to think that it's important that we all know who's who and what's what. And I'm grossed out by it. I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it. Gay man in 2024 should be proud to be a gay man. He should go out in public with his boyfriend or his husband or whatever, and he shouldn't have any fear. He should feel as welcome, and he would be among me and I think the 70% of us in here, as long as they're cool. But if you're a dick about stuff, you know, I don't want to hang out with you any more than I want to hang out with the two bros who are just looking to score some ass. It's both repugnant. We don't need to know your look. Well, that's what you say, Pugs. You always say that you're not even interested in sex. It's not that I'm not interested in sex. I'm an old man. I've had it. I've done it. I got the kid. I know it works. I'm really just this whole idea that as a nation, everybody is somehow in a sexual category. Stop it. I don't give a shit. Unless you're like just over the top, overt about it, and then it irritates me, but not because of your sexual choices, just because you're an irritating person. The Enigma machine on this day. That was a stream of consciousness that took us into an area where I just started ranting without fear of any repercussions. We'll see how that plays out. Antecedently on this day in 1960, the Food and Drug Administration announced that it will approve birth control as an additional indication for Searles Envenoid, which is a drug. Envoid. Making Envoid the world's first approved oral contraceptive pill. All right, ladies. All right, men. That's good. It's a breakthrough for everybody. Unless you think it's baby killing. Unless you're one of those people. Boy, I'm frosty today. Can you guys tell? I am really frosty. Hugh says that movie was a great movie. Yeah, it should be a great movie. He was a great man. That was a real thing that he did. I just don't need Hollywood's extended, this is all because he's gay, And that was sort of the narrative that I reject. I think we all know gay men have done incredible things. We don't need, gay men have done good things. Yeah. Does anybody, are we doubting that? I mean, widespread, right? Again, 15% crazy on one side, 15% crazy. I'm sure they're whatever that applies to. That side is denying that. But the rest of us all know that gay men have been in society accomplishing and building things for, since there was man, I guess. I don't know. Who's the first gay guy? Oh my God. Now this is a stream of consciousness that I don't know if I want to go down. Who was the first gay guy? Like, was there a first, or were there like hundreds that all came of age that say, I don't know. See, now me trying to be scientific about it is ruining the bit. Anyway, moving on. No, not going to chase that one. Not going to chase who was the first gay guy as a stream of consciousness. Antecedently on this day in 1974, the Watergate scandal, the United States House Committee on the Judiciary, opens formal and public impeachment hearings against President Richard Nixon. Watergate. Boring. Such an adorable, I mean, seriously, as far as like political scandals go, that one was cute. Watergate was so cute. I mean, shit. The stuff we've had since then, it's the next Watergate. No, Watergate was nothing compared to the slew of political scandals that we've had since 1974. Here's the thing about Watergate. It was like the first time that the press went, should we tell the people that they're doing some shady shit? And that was it. It was Woodward and Bernstein, Washington Post. They broke that story. And then that became the way stories went. And although I believe that, Watergate was probably an above board, honest investigation, I think that we found ways to commoditize information and news and journalism. And I think that in the years since, yes, we've seen a whole lot of people do a whole lot of bad things and make up shit and lie about stuff. I mean, as soon as you started making money off the news, which remember, I remind you guys all the time, you were not allowed to make money off news at first. The news was not supposed to be a commercial entity for the network. It was a trade-off with the government. The government allows these networks to make money off the public airwaves, and in return, the networks have to provide the people with something, and they decided that would be information, news and information. So news is supposed to be boring, and it's supposed to be just the facts. But then Fred Silverman came along and he decided that, wait a second, what if we have girls doing weather with really low cut tops on? I bet you that would raise commercial value. And then, the news divisions began making entertainment magazines and all of that stuff. Anyway, Watergate today, impeachment. The impeachment of Richard Nixon went through today. Or began today. Antecedently on this day in 2020, the COVID. Oh, this is some COVID news. I like to read the COVID news as history because it's so recent. On this day in 2020, the COVID-19 recession causes the U.S. unemployment rate to hit 14.9%. Its worst rate since the Great Depression. That's a lot, man. 14.9%. Jeez Louise. What is it now? 3.5, something like that? Isn't that what we live with now? Unemployment rate. You can't compare it to 14.9 because 14.9 is untenable for a society. That had to have been caused by something like the pandemic. It's not normal business as usual. Hey, look at unemployment. 3.5, I guess that's okay. I don't know. But again, I talk about this when these unemployment numbers come out. Those are not counting this, or those jobs, I should say, are almost all these side hustle gig jobs with the Ubers and the, Lyfts and the food hubs or whatever, that's what these jobs are. And they also don't account for people who've given up looking for jobs or gainful employment years ago, which It's another problem that we're having. All right, there you go. That's antecedently on this day. Let's do some birthdays. Let's celebrate people who are having a birthday today on the 9th day of May. Let's see here. Born on this day in 1918, Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace. Big old fraud, Mike Wallace. Not a fraud. You can't do it for 40 years. You can't be a fraud for 40 years and still be a fraud. At some point, you're actually pulling off what it is that you're pretending to pull off. Mike Wallace was not a newsman, is my reasoning. Mike Wallace was a game show host. He wanted to be famous. He was kind of a good-looking guy. He became famous coast to coast as a dude smoking a cigarette in a TV commercial. Because there were only 5 TV commercials because there was only 2 TV networks or whatever. And Mike Wallace was a dude in a suit smoking a cigarette. And he looked very, very serious. So they started creating a news division at CBS, and they asked all these people, hey, who should we get to do news? And then Mike Wallace, the cigarette smoking guy who had moved on to game shows, CBS News went, how about him? He looks like people might trust him. So they made Mike Wallace a CBS News guy. Now he would team with a young super producer by the name of Don Hewitt, and they would create 60 Minutes. And Don Hewitt would craft Mike Wallace into what Mike Wallace was. But never forget, he was just a commercial dude smoking a cigarette and a game show host. And now he's revered as one of the greats. He's a fraud, but not really. Again, you can't call someone a fraud if they've been pulling it off for 50, 60 years, however long it was that Mike Wallace was good at that 60 Minutes thing. Happy birthday, Mike Wallace. Terrible parent. Terrible parent. But Mike Wallace suffered from depression really bad. He was suicidal. Mike Wallace was not great. He really had it bad. And his son, Chris Wallace, will tell you all about it. Chris Wallace did not have a great relationship with his dad. Born on this day in 1936, Albert Finney. Albert Finney's an English actor. He died a few years ago. I like Albert Finney. I got nothing else to say about it other than, I like Albert Finney. Born on this day in 1946, an example of Hollywood Nepo babyism going all the way back. Born on this day in 1946, it's Candice Bergen. Candice Bergen was an actress. She was pretty. She was 1970s pretty. Murphy Brown. What am I thinking? Yeah, she would go on to do Murphy Brown. Yeah, okay, so I guess the generation knows her as Murphy Brown. But before that, she was like a princess of Hollywood because her dad was super famous for doing the dumbest fucking thing ever. Her dad was Edgar Bergen, who was a ventriloquist on the radio. What? How much is he making? This is radio ventriloquist Edgar Bergen's Hollywood estate in the beautiful Bel Air section of Beverly Hills. Wait, what's his trick? His trick is that he's a ventriloquist who performs on the radio. Anyway, that's how Candice Bergen is now famous, because her dad got famous in the most bizarre way possible. Now, he would go on. TV would come in and suddenly he'd be on TV and stuff. But he wasn't that good, is my point. He wasn't that good. If you look at old Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy bits, and then you look at somebody like Jim Dunham. Is it Jim Dunham? Jim Dunham, that's either like a ventriloquist or a cult leader. I don't know. Anyway, or like an SEC assistant coach. That's Jimbo Dunham. Lost my train of thought. Edgar Bergen wasn't good at it, and I think that's because he made all of his money and lost his hustle after TV came in. He was big on the radio where he didn't have to try that hard to make sure his lips didn't move. Candice Bergen, his daughter, Nepo baby, born on this day in 1946, born on this day in 1949, gonna say it loud, gonna say it proud. Maybe not something that in the last, I'd say it's been 20 years. I'd say I've been out of the closet. I've been out of the closet for 20 years now when it comes to this guy. And I think that maybe I was just too young and too dumb to be comfortable with the idea that I could like a beautiful lyricist, an absolutely gorgeous Springsteen-esque, Bernie Taupin-esque lyricist, Billy Joel, born on this day in 1949. And don't look. Yeah, we didn't start the fire. That's great. Man, you go back, you listen to like 52nd Street. You listen to The Stranger. You listen to The Stranger, you son of a bitch, and you tell me that Billy Joel is not a god among men. No? You disagree. People disagree with that. I don't understand it. I don't understand why people, and it's almost always people who have no idea those two records that I mentioned. Glass Houses, where he got started rocking. Friday night I crashed your pod. Let me tell you something about Billy Joel. And this is how I came out of the Billy Joel closet. Because he wasn't cool for my generation. He was someone that our maybe parents liked, or our teachers were maybe really into him. So it was like, it wasn't cool for our generation. I went to a Billy Joel concert. And I was like, holy shit, I know every single one of these songs, and this is fun. This guy's awesome. I've been to like 10 Billy Joel concerts since. Kidding me? Billy Joel is fun. That's Americana right there. And, if you're so inclined, the man is a beautiful, beautiful lyricist. Happy birthday, Billy Joel. Bill Falk, Piano Man is a beating. Well, of course it's a beating, but you know why it's a beating? Because millions and millions and millions and millions of people love that song. It's one of the greatest songs ever written. And because it's one of the greatest songs ever written, we've all heard it ad nauseum a million times. And I'm with you. I don't want to hear Piano Man anymore. But let's also give credit where credit is due. The reason we don't want to hear it isn't because it's a shit song. I promise you, the first 15,000 times you heard Piano Man, you were like, yeah, this song's fine. There's nothing wrong with this song. And then at one point, because it happened for me too, it's like, oh, Jesus. Sing us a song at a Piano Man. You're right. It's a beating. It's a beating. But like I say, man, 52nd Street, The Stranger, Just the Way You Are. Oh my God. What is that song? Always a Woman? Oh my God. Only the Good Die Young? Oh my God. No, why am I doing that? I don't know. I should be doing that. I should be doing that for all of those Billy Joel songs. Byron says the doo-wop stuff was an innocent man, Jeff. Oh yeah, remember that's the other thing about Billy Joel, and I think that's why people criticize him. He had a lot of fun with being famous. He just did entirely different shit, like he did 52nd, like he did Stranger and 52nd Street, and they were like, oh, he's a very serious singer-songwriter. He's a piano guy who just sings these beautiful ballads and these heartfelt lyrics, And then he comes out with like Glass Houses, right? Which is, more guitar based. And he's showing that he can rock, right? And so people are like, okay, so now what is he? What is this, like a Tom Petty thing? What is going on with Joel? And then he does the Uptown Girl, like he goes all retro, and then he does For the Longest Time. All right, all of that stuff where Billy was just having fun in the 80s and selling records and making money. Yeah, I don't like it as much as the classics. But like, Say Goodbye to Hollywood? Come on, man. It's also got what is that? Goodnight Saigon. Is that it? Is that it? Goodnight Saigon? Say goodnight to Hollywood and goodbye Saigon. Whatever, man. That dude could write some lyrics. Bill Folk says the funniest part of Step Brothers was the 80s Billy Joel cover band. Step Brothers is such a great film. By the way, I would also like to say that it is becoming more and more, my son, for instance. My son is 14 years old, and I believe it will go soon to be 15 in 2 days. Birthday weekend. My son is a Billy Joel fan. No, he didn't seek it out. Actually, that's not true. He already knew some Billy Joel from my myriad of playlists on Spotify. He likes my yacht rock stuff. He says it's cool to like listen to at night when he's falling asleep. It's why he likes people like Poco and Fleetwood Mac, Steely Dan, that kind of stuff. Anyway, my son finally embraced Billy Joel fully after The Boys. I don't know if you guys watch The Boys on Prime, but Huey, who is the star of The Boys, is a young man in his 20s, and he's a Billy Joel fanatic, and he loves Billy Joel, and he will talk about Billy Joel ad nauseum. He has all kinds of fun facts, and he is just a Billy Joel nerd. And because Huey is so cool on The Boys, and everybody likes Huey, my 14-year-old son thinks it's totally cool to say that he likes Billy Joel. And that's good for Billy Joel. That's good for him, because there was a period of time there where, he went from the guy who got Christy Brinkley, who had all of us going, what? How did that What? Like, we didn't understand that, but he got her. He went from that guy to a guy that got like a DUI every week. Remember when Billy Joel was running into houses and driving it off roads and getting pulled over for DUIs? He had a drinking problem. I think he got it control. Back in a big way, just did a big network special that apparently all the oldsters enjoyed. I didn't see it. I saw clips of it, and I was like, oh, I wouldn't have watched it. I'd have gone to it. You go to a Billy Joel show, that's different. But watching it on TV, nah. Happy birthday, Billy Joel. Born on this day in 1949. Born on this day in 1962, Dave Gahan. Now, for my money, Dave Gahan is the leader of Depeche Mode, although I'm sure that Martin Gore would disagree with that. Martin Gore, known for writing the songs and being, more of the genius of all of that. But I'm sorry, that Dave Gahan, you take the Dave Gahan voice out of Depeche Mode, and I am not interested. Reach out and touch faith. He's almost got a crooner voice. Reach out and touch faith. Your own personal Jesus. Happy birthday, Dave Gahan. Or is it Gahan? I want to be ethnically appropriate and respectful. Is it Dave Gahan? Gahan. Born on this day in 1970. I also want to be ethnically appropriate with this one. Ghostface Killer. Ghostface Killer of the Wu-Tang Clan. There are how many people are in the Wu-Tang Clan? Way too many people. They all seem to have made money, and I don't ever remember hearing Wu-Tang Clan on the radio or anything. So how did they make all their money for all of those people? A lot of people in that band. A lot of them. There's a million of them. Like, if you just came up to me and went, yeah, did you hear Porcupine Gus's new album? And I'm like, who's that? And they're like, he's from the Wu-Tang. I go, yeah, oh yeah, obviously Porcupine Gus. Oh, am I saying it wrong? Oh, it's Porcupine Gus. Okay, I got you. Happy birthday, Ghostface Killer. Is he alive or dead? Old Dirty's dead. We know the ones that died. Ghostface still alive. Born on this day in 1970. Born on this day in 1979. Rosario Dawson. Is she still famous? I don't know if she's still famous. She might be really famous. Because hold on. Time out. She might be really famous. It's just that I don't watch Fast and Furious movies. Like, is she one of them Fast and the Furious people? Because if she is, then she's really famous. It's just my blind spot that doesn't recognize it. Here's what I do know. I do know that Rosario Dawson was kind of famous 15 years ago for something. Don't know what she did. She was young. She was hot. She was like one of the hot, young, sexy women. I don't know who she was. She was an actress. We knew who she was. She was kind of famous for stuff. It's about 15 years ago. More than that. This would be 15, 16, 17 years ago. We were out in LA. We were watching the Grammys. We were covering the Grammys. And on the Saturday night before the Grammys were held on Sunday evening. On the Saturday night, we decided to go to Beverly Hills to this burlesque cafe, this burlesque showroom in Beverly Hills. Pugs, why are you going to a burlesque show? Because I'm open-minded. That sounded like fun and what everybody else wanted to do. And it was a burlesque show that starred the daughter of the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips' daughter is a big, fancy Beverly Hills burlesque star. Like they had, apparently this is a big thing. This was a big thing. And Wendy Phillips, I don't know what her name is. Anyway, so that's what we do. So we go to this burlesque show, and it was weird. Everybody's sitting on the floor. You got to sit on the floor. It was nice floor. It was Beverly Hills. It was, pillows. Everybody's got big, giant pillows. So everybody's like laying around on the floor. And then this burlesque show starts. And, it's burlesque. It's like a strip club for gay men, because it's not like there's nothing sexy about it. It's just all very strange. It's like sex adjacent. Like, oh man, okay, I think I saw her boob. But then you go, but wait, was I attracted to her? Was she attractive? I don't think she was attractive. So why do I care? That's what a burlesque show is. So we look over, and a couple of people seated away from us. It was determined by Richard Hunter. It was Richard Big Dick Hunter. I don't know if you guys remember Big Dick Hunter. Big Dick Hunter pointed it out that it was the young actress Rosario Dawson sitting there, just a couple of groups of people on the floor away from us. So I was like, oh man, she's hot. And I'm like watching Rosario Dawson. And I watched Rosario Dawson all night long make out with another girl. And I was like, Rosario Dawson is gay. She's on a date. And like, I knew she was like an actress. And recently she dated Cory Booker. Remember when she was dating Cory Booker? And so I've been tracking this story for years and years, and she's never actually come out of the closet. I mean, I saw her making, she had a hot girlfriend and she was hot and they were like really getting into it. They were making out. We were all watching, got a whole bunch of witnesses. She wasn't hiding it. She was in the middle of a public place, making out, Beverly Hills. Here, I found this though, because I was like, should I tell that story? And I'm like, it happened. Can you prove it happened? I'm like, well, yeah, people. I have to get my ex-wife to testify, and Richard Hunter, I'd have to find him. But yeah, I'm thinking like that. So then I found this, and so I'm like, yeah, I'm fine talking about it. I don't care. In 2018, Dawson made a post to Instagram that was widely perceived as her coming out as queer. When asked about this in a 2020 interview, she stated that this has not been her intention, and further specified that although, quote, people kept saying that I came out, I didn't really do that. I mean, it's not inaccurate, but I never did come out. I mean, I guess I am now, but I've never had a relationship in that space. So it's not. Long story is this. She's doing kind of what I think you need to do. This is what I was talking about with that movie, the Enigma Code movie, where it seemed to be all about he's gay. Oh, and he probably saved the world, but he's gay. Come see it because he's gay. See, I don't care about that stuff. Rosario Dawson is doing it the right way. She doesn't give a shit what people think. She was 15 years ago. She's in a bar. She's at the height of her stars. She's making out with another girl. Big old dumb me from Texas. I'm sitting there going, well, hell, that's one of them Hollywood stars making out with another girl, right? She wasn't hiding it. There were people there. And then when people ask her if she's gay, she doesn't answer. She's like, whatever. She's like, what, maybe? I don't know. Good for her. She doesn't know anybody any explanations. It's nobody's business. The only reason people want to know who you're sleeping with is so that they can judge you and judge you based on whatever weird, corrupted morals they've got from growing up, whether it be religious or some sort of twisted ideology on the way people ought to be. Happy birthday, Rosario Dawson. I saw you making out with a chick. I don't know if that makes you gay. Probably not. Actually, I know a lot of girls who have made out with other chicks. But you guys seemed like you were really into it. You guys weren't making out. Like, it wasn't like Rosario Dawson was making out with another chick the way sorority girls might make out with each other because they're at a beer party and the guys are going, do it. And we did it. That's not what I saw with Rosario Dawson. What I saw were two people who were going to go home and fuck. That's what I saw. Happy birthday, Rosario Dawson. Born on this day in 1979. Born on this day in 1979 as well. Andrew WK. Whatever happened. He wanted to party all the time. And I think that's maybe what happened. You remember Andrew WK? He was like famous for like a week in 2001. He had a song on the charts and nobody knew what to make of it because they didn't know if it was a serious song. What was that song called? Andrew WK is an American singer, songwriter, multi-instrumentalist, motivational speaker, and music producer. Cool. There you have it. That's going to do it. Those are the birthdays for today. Let's talk about the deads. Q3 is where we're at now. Q3. These are the people who've died on this day. We're going to decide whether they went to heaven or hell. Dead on this day in 1914, C.W. Post, American businessman, founded Post Foods. He's the cereal guy. Kellogg's was probably his. Is this what that Jerry Seinfeld movie's about? Is that Post? Who makes Pop-Tarts? Is that Post? It is, right? All right, I hear that movie sucks. I haven't seen it. I wanted to see it. Look at this. Look at my mush brain allowing myself to be influenced by the outside world. I wanted to see that Jerry Seinfeld movie about Pop-Tarts. I wanted to, what's it called? Tarts? What's it called? Unfrosted, frosted, whatever. I wanted to see that. It had an all-star cast. It looked silly. It looked funny and blah, blah, blah. But before I could see it, I read all of this stuff about it's the worst movie ever. That's what everybody was saying. Worst movie ever. So C.W. Post can go to hell if he's involved with that in any way. Although probably not because he died in 1914. He had nothing to do with the Pop-Tart. Which, by the way, the Pop-Tart is delicious. There's no pro tip. Don't buy the actual Pop-Tarts. Don't buy actual. If you at Kroger, where you at? Doesn't matter where you are. There is going to be a knockoff generic version of the Pop-Tarts and they're just as good. They're exactly the same thing. Here's how I know, because my son once argued with me that one was better than the other. So I broke down and we bought one of each. We bought one of it and then we made them and I mixed them up. He couldn't tell the difference. He refused to say which one was better because he knew that would ultimately be a loss. So what he was willing to do after tasting the Kroger cherry frosted Pop-Tart versus the actual Pop-Tart, he knew that if he committed to one being better, that he could possibly look like a fool. So what he did was he went, I can't tell the difference, and walked away from the entire argument. I thought that was a win-win. As a dad, I was like, yes, see, I'm right. So I got that win. But also as a dad, I was like, all right, the dude refuses. He's not going to take the loss. He's figured out a way to get out of it. It was good. So CW Post is going to hell because I don't know. Do I need to look at what Post cereals there are? Because if it turns out I love one of these Post cereals, then it's like, oh, he's going to go to heaven. But he died in 1914. You know what kind of cereal this guy was making? Wheat. That's it. Here you go. It's Post cereal. What flavor? Wheat. They wouldn't even think to add sugar for like another 30 years. Have some wheat. And what do I do with it? I don't know. Just baked, shredded wheat. Dead on this day in 2009, NBA legend and a guy who's absolutely going to hell, putting him in hell. There is no way that I could not put Chuck Daly in hell. Chuck Daly, the manager? Call him manager. Ugh. Chuck Daly, head coach of the Detroit Pistons, and a bunch of other, but let's just talk about Detroit Piston era Chuck Daly. Chuck Daly was he looked like Morton Downey Jr., first of all. He looked like Morton Downey Jr. if Morton Downey Jr. wasn't so handsome. Okay? That'll give you the idea of what Chuck Daly looked like. And he wore like really fancy suits, and he was the coach of the Bad Boys, the Detroit Bad Boys, the Isaiah Thomas, the Dennis Rodman, the Joe Dumars, the Bill Lambiers. Oh, God, man. Trust me, as a Chicago Bull fan of that era, it was the Detroit Pistons who won back-to-back titles that just immediately preceded the Bulls' dominant run of the 90s. It was the Pistons that the Bulls, in their own division, that the Bulls had to get over. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of stuff about, The Last Dance and all that, and then, those 6 championships, and that's all great, and I'm glad we got them, and greatest memories of my sporting youth life, that era of Bulls basketball. But I can just as vividly recall the years that preceded that when we would get bitch slapped by the Detroit Pistons every year for like 2-3 seasons in a row before finally beating them and then surpassing them. That was a dirty fucking team. The Detroit Pistons were a dirty fucking team. That kind of basketball, we haven't seen that kind of basketball anywhere in the NBA. I mean, maybe it's like Eastern European teams, play this way now. I don't know. But that kind of like Eastern Detroit Pistons, and it was the Pistons' fault. And because I'm saying it's the Pistons' fault, it's Chuck Daly's fault. Chuck Daly was the head coach. That style of basketball made it so that every other team in the East had to begin to play that way. So the Cleveland Cavaliers started playing that way. The New York Knicks started playing that way. The Boston Celtics started playing that way. Everybody in the East became thug basketball. It was insane. Everybody except the Bulls. The Bulls were, the ones that were going to try and survive that. And they did, with a combination of Dennis Rodman and at first Charles Oakley and then Horace Grant. I mean, but they, but the Bulls never got thuggy. The Bulls were bitches. They were bitches and they complained. They complained like Luka complains. I hate that about Luka, but I also hated that about the Bulls. But they weren't thugs. And Chuck Daly is the reason that thuggery became the way to play basketball for about 15 years in the NBA East. Chuck Daly's in hell. Vidal Sassoon died on this day in 2012. He was a hairdresser, an English-American hairdresser and businessman. Vidal Sassoon. I don't know anything about this guy except he's going to hell. Vidal Sassoon. I don't know. Here's what I was thinking earlier today. I was thinking Vidal Sassoon. Like, that's a real guy. So it's a real guy. Like, I guess I knew he was a real guy, but then I started wondering, all right, that's a real guy. Vidal Sassoon is a real guy. First of all, what made him think he can make jeans? Isn't that weird? Isn't that strange? Like he was a hair cutter. He was a hairdresser. And then all of a sudden he's like, and I'm going to make jeans. And Vidal Sassoon jeans became a thing for about 10 years. So Vidal Sassoon's real guy. Calvin Klein's a real guy. Who the fuck is Sergio Valente? Remember that? Sergio Valente jeans. Uh-oh, Sergio. Remember Sergio Valente? Who is he? Is he a guy? Is that a guy or is that a made-up marketing name? Because we already had Calvin Klein and or some other designer jeans. Yeah. No, oh, would that make a fun YouTube video? Designer jean draft? Like 80s designer jean draft? Like, number 1, Bonjour. Number 2, Jordache. Number 3, Calvin Klein. Number 4, Vidal Sassoon. Sergio Valente. What else? What other kinds of jeans did they have back then? Anyway, designer jeans. Vidal Sassoon. You're going to hell. I don't know why. I don't know anything about you. I just imagine you did some things, Vidal Sassoon, that we don't know about. So I'm erring on the side of keeping heaven great. Dead on this day in 2020, Little Richard. See the Wop Babaloo Bop guy? Is that him? Wop Babaloo Bop, Wop Bam Toot Fruit. Yeah, that's him. That's Little Richard. Absolutely. Icon. Oh my God. Flamboyant showman. One of the great rock and roll front men. He's in hell. Of course, Little Richard is in hell. Now, unfortunately, maybe I don't know as much about Little Richard as I think that I do. And I also leave open the possibility that I'm conflating Little Richard and the legend of Little Richard to some degree with that of Chuck Berry, which I don't think anybody wants to be conflated with Chuck Berry, because that dude, maybe Jerry Lee Lewis. Maybe Jerry Lee Lewis is like, I'll take a little Chuck Berry. I got a lot of bad stuff in my legacy. I'll take some Chuck Berry. But I don't know. I just think Little Richard was wild, right? He was wild. And when people are wild and when your reputation is that you're wild, it's often that you're not nice or kind or giving or caring or loving or emotionally connected to other people. You're wild. Put him in hell. There you go. Little Richard. Get out of here. Everybody went to hell today. Everybody went to hell today. CW Post, Chuck Daly, Vidal Sassoon, Little Richard. All right, folks. That's going to do it for quarters 1, 2, and 3 of the show. We're going to rip through the rest of this show here in about the next 50 minutes or so, because as I said, I got to get out of here pretty early. Still got to walk the dog. Jeff Ballard says, R. Kelly found Chuck Berry as an inspiration. That was early. I went so early on that. Let me try it again. Jeff Ballard says, R. Kelly found Chuck Berry as an inspiration. Could have been a little tighter. That's an issue on my end. Thank you to the dead people for dying today. You've all been so wonderful. Thank you. I should have mentioned we should have an executive producer today. I didn't get a chance to make that. I apologize. It'll be Chuck. It'll be Chuckles. Thank you, Chuckles. Thank you, Chuckles. Chuckles got us close. We all got close. We got close to making our goal last month, but we didn't make it. So you want to throw a little something in now, and then we'll stop for a couple weeks. Maybe we can. I don't think we're going to make that, but I'm going to leave that up if you feel so inclined. Appreciate it. And now we're going to motor through. Here we go. Continuing on with the show. Trump trial. Stormy Daniels was brought back up to the stand for the second day. They took a break yesterday because everybody needed to go be alone after the first day of Stormy Daniels' testimony. So she came back this time for defense cross or defense recross. And then there was prosecution recross of the defense cross. And I don't know anything about lawyering. That's all. It's all very complicated stuff. Anyway, just another opportunity, another massive missed opportunity where you got a porn star talking about having sex with a former president and nobody's putting that on TV. Nobody. Fuck. New York doesn't allow court. You know what? Maybe there would still be a court TV if New York State allowed cameras in their courtroom, because you can't just rely on the fact that California has cameras in their courtroom and hope that California can provide you with like a whole bunch of nutty cases to fill your programming day. That doesn't work. You need a Florida. You need Texas. You need New York. There should be cameras and everything. There should be a way for us to check in and watch as a citizen. Oh, here we go. Okay, because it's about being a citizen and our right to know. Every courtroom in America, be it federal, municipal, or whatever, every courtroom in America should have a web page and a live stream where you can just tap in and check in on whatever's happened. What are they hiding from us is what I want to know. What are they? And honestly, I'll never watch it. Neither will you. You know when you'll watch it? You'll watch it when your friend and her husband are going through a divorce. That's when you'll watch it. You'll check it out. You'll go to the local county. You'll click on that court. You'll watch the feed. That's when you'll watch it. Or the other time that we'll watch that will be when, a porn star is talking about the size of a former president's dick. That we'll watch that. That I think would get ratings. I don't know. There should be cameras in courtrooms for us, for the people, because it's important that we know all this stuff. It's really more important that we be able to gawk and exploit a situation at our own will whenever we want. That's really what's important. But also, it's the whole citizens need to know thing too. That's also equally, not quite. That's also part of the argument. A big part of the argument. Because, all right, Trump trial. So what's happening? Second day across. Stormy Daniels, she got up there. I'm trying to think what are they reporting from today? Let me see here. Stormy Daniels testifies in hush money trial. All right, there you go. Oh, they're on another break. That's the other thing. Even when they are in session, it's like they're in session for 10 minutes and then they're in a break for lunch for like an hour and a half. Then they come back. Then they dismiss for something else. They're never, it's really not, it's not a full work day. It's not, you get a lot of breaks is what I'm saying. A lot of potty breaks or something. I don't know what to tell you. She's up there again. We know what this is about. Trump still says he didn't bang her, which is the most amazing part of this whole story. I just thought that was a foregone conclusion, but no, he's still saying he didn't bang her. Ugh. All right, Trump trial. There you go. That's how we cover the Trump trial here. Marjorie Taylor. All you need to know about the Trump trial is that Stormy Daniels was on the stand again today. I mean, what are you, a lawyer? Are you going to go and have like some confab with a bunch of your colleagues and talk about, the minutiae of the No, you don't need that. And if you are doing that, you're certainly not listening to this. Trump trial. Marjorie Taylor Greene is also in the news. Marjorie Taylor Greene, finally yesterday, she brought her long-awaited vote to the floor trying to get rid of Speaker Mike Johnson, because Marjorie Taylor Greene is nuts. She's been, saber rattling for a long time, and then we all lost interest. But see, do you see the game that she was doing? For weeks and weeks and weeks, she talked about threatening to do it. For weeks and weeks and weeks. And oh my God, everyone was a titty. The news media would follow her anywhere. She could stand so authoritatively on the steps of Congress, surrounded by a gaggle of reporters, and Marjorie Taylor Greene could give her vision for America. She was allowed to do that for 3 weeks because she's like, I don't know when I'm going to do it. And then we all lost interest. Then people lost interest. They're like, yeah, we're done with this story now. And so this week she's like, I'll do it now. I'll do it now. I'll do it now. And she did it yesterday and it went up in fucking flames. Humiliating defeat for Marjorie Taylor Greene. There's like 1,000 people in that room and like 2 of them voted for it. 2 of them. She's such a fool. But it was all about attention. It's a big waste of time for everybody. Everybody knew that it wasn't going to pass, but she gets talked about. She gets talked about on Fox News. She gets to go on Newsmax, and she's hailed as a princess champion, which she loves. Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene moved to force a vote on ousting Speaker Mike Johnson on Wednesday. A momentous move. Yeah, really? Sorry. Ugh. A momentous move that is all but certain to fail amid opposition from Democratic conservative Republicans. Greene, who filed her motion to vacate against Johnson more than a month ago, yeah, we remember, you've been milking it ever since, called her resolution to the floor as privilege on Wednesday, forcing GOP leadership to move on the measure with 2 legislative days. Okay, I don't care. We don't care about that. And pop-ups? Really? You're going to give me pop-ups on this? I'm not fighting through a pop-up for a Marjorie Taylor Greene story. All right? The fuck out of here with that. Kristi Noem is having some blowback issues with her dog story. We didn't talk about the Kristi Noem thing because, honestly, she's still hot. She's a dog killer. She kills dogs. She kills dogs with absolutely no consideration. She's willing to just kill a dog which I get it. She's country, but I know people who are country. Half my friends are country. I live in Texas for 20 years. You don't think I know country people? And they're not just going to put a bullet in the side of their dog's head because that dog's a shit hunter. Okay. There's a sociopathic disconnect going on here with this, Christy. No, but that's how we do it in the country. When a dog gets rabid, you put it down. I get it. When a dog can't be trained and he's biting and he's vicious and all that stuff, you put him down. You don't put him down. The story as she tells it. Okay, so here's the thing. Christy Nome wrote a book, and in the book, she's got a story about how she had this dog. What was the dog's name? Mr. Goobers? It was like a really cute name, too. It's like, why the fuck didn't you change the name for the book? Why couldn't you call him like Butch or something, in the book? No, but it was like Mr. Snarkles or something. I don't know. Mr. Phoebe's. It was a cute dog name. And in the book, she describes how this dog was, they had a lot of hope for her as a hunting dog, and they went out hunting, and this dog didn't know how to dog hunt or whatever hunt. This dog was just scaring away the birds. And okay, so she's telling me this. I'm like, okay, all right. So he got rid of the dog. Good. The dog got to be raised by people who love it. And then she goes on to tell the story and we decided that dog was never going to be a hunting dog. And then on the way home, the dog got out of the car and it ate a chicken. What? Okay. I would expect my dog to eat a chicken. I think most people would expect dogs to eat chickens. If you got a dog and suddenly there's a chicken in front of the dog, I would fully expect, I don't give a shit what breed it is, not a golden retrievers ain't gonna eat chickens. They're vegans, I believe, golden retrievers. But most dogs are gonna kill a chicken. So anyway, it was those two issues. It was he can't hunt and he killed a chicken that she probably had to spend $10 for. She says in the book that she wrote a check for the chicken that the dog ate. And I was just wondering, and I wondered this a week ago, and ain't nobody gotten back to me yet. What's a chicken cost? What's a live walking around on the driveway? What's that cost? What is that worth? I'm a city slicker. You could tell me that thing costs $50, and I'd be like, all right, a little pricey for me. You could tell me it costs $10, and I'd be like, yeah, okay, that seems about right. I mean, there's so many goddamn chickens. And by the way, if I was to get like fried chicken at a store, I could get a whole chicken at a store for like $10, $12. Or, the rotisserie ones, but those are little. I know those are different. All right, but like $10, $15. So, and that's been prepared and it's been trucked. What does a chicken cost is my question. What does a live chicken cost? She wrote a check for it. Anyway, whatever the amount on that check was the amount that she cared for that dog. That's if it was whatever the number, there was too big a number. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. So Christy Nome put a bullet in that dog's head for being a shit hunter, for being a dog, and for eating a chicken, for being a dog. So she sucks. She's hot. Going both ways on that. She's hot. Looks great in jeans. She's another one of these. There's a lot of these like right-wing political ladies who just can wear a pair of jeans. And they're all wearing jeans because that's country. Because when they wear jeans, it means you're rural. It means you're not elite. They're all wearing jeans. And I'm all for it. That's a draft. All right. Hot political right-wing chicks who look amazing in jeans. Let's go. First pick off the board. I'm going Boebert. That's right. Boebert looks good in jeans. Hot right-wing chick who looks good in jeans. Number 2, I saw this over the weekend. That Trump lawyer, Alina Hababa. Number 2, off the hot right-wing MAGA chicks who look good in jeans. Number 3, I'm going to go Christy. We're going to go Christy Nome. Christy Nome looks good. That's it. I'm out. I'm sure Hope Hicks looks amazing in jeans. Or does she have flat rich girl ass? Maybe she might not look. Hope Hicks might not look good in jeans. Moving on. So what is going on with Christy Nome? She's the book. She can't sell the book anywhere. Well, like people are not allowing the book to be sold because now it's like she's a dog killer. She was going to be Trump's vice president, or so they led us to believe. I don't know. You don't know. We don't know. We're not in the inner circle. But they were like, she was going to be Trump's VP, and now he won't touch her with a 10-foot pole. I think he even put out a statement on Truth Social that basically was, that's pretty fucked up. Like he didn't exactly endorse, and he's not like a dog guy. I don't think Trump's a dog guy. But anyway, point is this: she's no longer going to be VP, and she had a big signing in Friendly Territory, which is like, I don't know, her corner bookstore where she lives. She had this big signing, and they had to cancel it because there were all kinds of protests and people threatened bombs and all that. Yeah, my God, she's having troubles. This is karma for what you did to Mr. Binkles or whatever his name is. Does anybody in the chat room know that cricket? Thank you, Barney. Cricket. She put a fucking bullet in Cricket's head. Look, that's hardcore. Look, all I'm saying is that I want somebody, if someone's going to lead me, I want them to have a little compassion. I want them to be, they don't need to be crying daffodils, but I certainly don't want them to just put a dog down because of $10 and a fucking bad hunting trip and then brag about it in the book. Like, see, this is the kind of person I am, and not have the state of mind to recognize that story should have been left out of your fucking book, you moron. You fucking moron. Hot though. Looks good in a pair of jeans. Christy Nome. Eurovision. We were talking about this last week because there's some stuff going on with the Eurovision. Eurovision, which is it's American Idol, right? I explained this for those that don't know what Eurovision is. It's a yearly competition. It's the original. It started in like 1952. Every country in Europe writes a song, and then they send somebody to this central location, like a host city, and then on TV they all sing their country songs in the different countries in Europe. They all vote for the song. So that's what Eurovision is. And I say it's like American Idol, but here's why I think here's the problem with it, because I listened to a number of these Eurovision songs this morning because of this story I'm doing now. Here's the problem, because I'm like, why couldn't that work in America? Why does American Idol work, but not something like that? Why couldn't, like, Indiana write a song and Ohio write a song, and all the states write songs, and then we have a months-long competition where we listen to all the songs? Here's what I came up with. Because Americans ain't going to listen to fucking songs they never heard before. It's why American Idol does all covers. American Idol is a hit because we recognize the song and we're hearing somebody new sing it, but we recognize the song, so there's something to keep us there. I have maintained my entire life that there are probably a handful of songs in your life. And by handful, I mean less than 5. There are probably less than 5 songs in your life that the very first time you heard it from the very beginning, you were like, I'm in. I love this song. Most of the time, it takes us a couple of listens. It's why when I was a music director in radio, an alternative station in Chicago. Assistant music. But still, point remains. You have to listen to these songs multiple times. You can't just listen to them once and go, nope, never going to play that. You have to see if there's something that sticks the second time you heard. So that's why I think Eurovision doesn't work. Wouldn't work here. I think maybe or does it work because your entire country tunes in to hear your song on your night, and then every other country tunes in for their, and then it works, and then collectively for the championship, everybody tunes. I don't know. I just don't think we Americans have the attention span to listen to, oh, Christ, who's up next? Kentucky. This is the Kentucky song. And then we're like, nope, I'm out. Anyway, Eurovision, they've expanded more than just Europe. They also allow Australia and Israel in the contest now. And the Israeli girl, her name is Eden Golan. She is going to be singing the Israeli song this year. It's called Hurricane. And it does have something to do with the October 7th invasion by Hamas into Israel. So it's very controversial that she's there. Why? Because just being Israeli is controversial now because of the actions taken by the Netanyahu government in Palestine, Gaza, and all that. So first, they told her that they didn't tell her that she couldn't come, but they told her that she's going to have to be very careful. She's going to have to stay. This is Eden Golan. She was going to have to stay in her hotel room. She couldn't leave. She couldn't do any of the press that any of the other people are doing. And basically, it's going to be a miserable experience because we think that there are crazy people who might try and kill you at the Eurovision contest. So that's what this girl, Eden Golan, is going through, just trying to sing her song Hurricane. Now, who is she? Here's another thing that's really interesting about her, about why they're extra scared about people coming after her. Because Eden Golan is representing Israel in this, and she is Jewish, but she isn't Israeli. She's actually Ukrainian, who is famous in Russia as a pop star. Are you following all of this? She is a Russian pop star. So she's like Britney Spears of Russia. She's like a Russian pop star and successful too and famous. She is a Russian pop star who is of Ukrainian descent. Okay, so that's a problem right there. And apparently she's been outspoken against Russia too. So that's a problem right there. And now she's doubling down on all that by showing up and representing Israel with a song right now at this time in 2024. So yeah, it's probably best that she's not walking the streets of Antwerp or wherever the hell this thing is being. Let's watch a little bit of this. You want to hear some of the song? She did her practice round yesterday, which apparently, I don't know how it works. I'm sorry. I can't even pretend to tell you I know how Eurovision works, but this is called a practice round. And this is, again, Eden Golan. She is representing, here we go. All right, she is representing Israel in the Eurovision contest, and this is how she was greeted. Again, this is how she's being greeted. It's, whatever. People are ugly. Let's check this out. All right. That's it's unfortunate for her. But let's listen to the song a little bit because you can really hear the song there. And I've listened to the song like 3 times already today. It's called Hurricane. Actually, we don't have the full song. Or do we have the full song? Yeah, we do. We might. Oh, this is. Hold on. All right. Hold on. Let's try this one more time. Oh, God. This is her on stage. I guess she's warming up here. This is before the performance that got all the boos. Here she is. This is the song. Take it all and leave the world behind. Baby, promise me you'll hold me again. I'm still broken from this hurricane. This hurricane. All right, there she is. That's Eden Golan. That's the song that they won't let her sing. It's catchy, man. I've heard a couple of different versions. YouTube's got people are now covering it and all that kind of stuff, but not letting her sing. They're letting her sing. They're just not giving her a fair shake, at least the audience. She's getting booed. She's having a tough time. She's just a singer. And she is so, man, that history of hers is so messed up. Again, she is a very well-known Russian pop star who is a Ukraine loyalist who is representing Israel. Singing a song about October 7th. Oh my God. Eden Golan going through some stuff. All right. What else do we have here? Oh, this is a fun one that we could talk about today. So do you guys know who Jack Schlossberg is? Does that name mean anything to you? Jack Schlossberg? It sucks for him. It sucks for him. It sucks for him because it would be so much easier if his last name wasn't Schlossberg. His mom is the Kennedy. His mom is Caroline Kennedy. It'd be so much easier if he could be Jack Kennedy III, but he can't. JFK's grandson. This is JFK's grandson. That's who Jack Schlossberg is. And Jack Schlossberg has basically been political veal. That's how I look at a lot of these kids. The Caroline Kennedy is the daughter, of course, of JFK. Caroline Kennedy's son, Jack Schlossberg. He's a lawyer. That's unfortunate, though. He's got the name. He's got that name that doesn't. It's like Schlossberg is not going to resonate the way if his name was Jack Kennedy would. Point is, he's getting involved in the whole political thing. Probably been raised. He's been raised to be president. I'm just telling you right now. He's been raised to be president. Probably in the next 20 years or something like that. Jack Schlossberg is going to start getting involved in all kinds of things, and it may have started today. He's doing it the way only dudes of his generation would do it, and that's on Instagram and through funny parody videos. And Jack Schlossberg, the grandson of JFK, is all right. So here's what he's doing. Made a bunch of videos. The overall point of the video is that he's trying to belittle his uncle or his cousin or whoever the hell Robert Kennedy Jr. is. But Jack Schlossberg is going hard on the idiot Kennedy that all the other Kennedys are like. Look, you might think all the Kennedys are idiots, and they might all be, but within the lexicon or within the sort of universe of the Kennedy mindset, there is an idiot Kennedy, and that's RFK Jr. So Jack Schlossberg, again, grandpa is JFK, grandma is Jacqueline Kennedy. Jack Schlossberg, he's now making some wacky videos to sort of belittle and make fun of RFK Jr. Now, that's just the tip of it. Here's what happened. He's doing like character work. It's like he's a sketch artist. He's basically just creating these characters, and they all have accents because that's what characters have. I don't know if you know this or not, but people have accents. And when you're trying to do a character and you want to depict somebody that has a different accent than you have to do their accent. And it doesn't mean you're a racist. And it doesn't mean that you're... Anyway, he's getting hammered, old Jack Schlossberg. And I'm perfectly okay with that. Perfectly okay with him taking strays and even direct hits because he's Jack Schlossberg, because he was raised the grandson of JFK. I can't imagine John F. Kennedy's grandson. I can't imagine he's had a whole lot of adversity in his life. So I'm perfectly fine with him taking some shit over some really bad comedy that he engaged in. So let's watch this. This is JFK. This is JFK's grandson, Jack Schlossberg. He's doing bits. The first up, this is his character, Anthony. Anthony is a oh man, yeah. Hold on. It's friggin' Instagram, and Instagram's being a pain in the ass right now. All right. Here we go. All right, this is Anthony. Now, Italians are all upset about him being Anthony. Anthony is a New York guy, and I really don't understand what the point of this is. It's not great comedy, but here he is, Anthony, as performed by JFK's grandson.
A lot of people talking, okay? They say I'm an elite prick. They say I do these accents. I'm making fun of people, making fun of working people. Not my intention, no disrespect whatsoever. All I'm saying is I'm losing my fucking mind here because everybody's asking me about the comment on the race, and I don't want to say nothing. But guess what? I gotta say something. So I channel it for inspiration because I find strength in the people that I know.
Okay. All right, first of all, we're gonna go back to this nonsense, but I want to tell you what's going on here. This is a talentless, silver spoon little rich boy who nobody has ever told him, yeah, you're not good at that, man. You're not good. This is not going to be your thing. So he's got it in his head that he's like some great comedic artist, some great character. He's on a level with Sacha Baron Cohen and Peter Sellers, for crying out loud. He is just... So what he's doing is he's explaining in this Instagram that he is using these characters to say things that he, as Jack Schlossberg, cannot. It's the classic puppet defense. Shock jocks for years on radio would use, they'd get in trouble and they'd use the puppet defense. It was a character. I wasn't being really me. Why should the real me be docked pay when it was the character who... Anyway, let's go back to this. All right, some more. Here's more. This is Anthony. He's explaining how he's using these characters to comment on the political race as characters and not as himself, the grandson of JFK.
I spent time with, all right? So you can call me whatever you want. Don't bother me. Don't bother me at all. Forget about it. I'm from New York.
Okay.
A lot of people talking. Okay? They say I'm an elite prick.
Okay, that's right. That's Anthony again. Yeah, me right here. I'm saying you're an elite prick. That's me. I'm saying you're an elite prick, Jack Schlossberg. No, I ain't going to call you Kennedy Schlossberg. Your name is Jack Schlossberg, not Jack Kennedy Schlossberg. I know that's what you want to catch on, but it ain't gonna. Not in this house. All right. Here's another guy. That was Anthony. So this is a character called Southern Wade. Okay. Southern Wade is his new character. I guess this is a Southern guy. Yep, that's going to be it. All right, hold on. Let's see here. All right. Again, this is JFK Jr.'s or JFK's. How do we restart this? How do you restart on fucking Instagram? Seriously, there's no way to restart the video?
Everybody down with no shame. Do I want to vote for Bobby Kennedy Jr.?
For fuck's sake. All right, we're just going to reboot it. So we're going to do. Here you go. All right.
Dude, I want to tell you who I'm voting for this cycle. It's Biden. And I'll tell you why. Because I think that behavior matters. And I think the example we set for our children matters. I've got 3 daughters. And I don't want them growing up with a President Trump 2.0 who's grabbing stuff and painted orange and ripping everybody down with no shame. Do I want to vote for Bobby Kennedy Jr.? Doesn't seem like he shows much respect for anybody neither. He's lying to us, that's for sure. Plus, I race horses. And you can always tell when a horse is being pumped full of testosterone. Steroids. Doesn't make the horse think any better or run any faster. Now, I'm voting for Biden because I believe in honor, integrity, decency.
All right. Yeah. All right. He went, I love that. In that character there, he went with like the racehorse analogy, and then he was able to play it off as the Southern guy. I race horses. When in his mind, he's like, oh, our family owns stables all across this globe. I can speak to the horse people. That's painful. Old Jack Schlossberg. Here's another one that got him in trouble. This one is the one that people are really, because these times that we live in here. This one is is being called a New York Jew. And here we go. There's the New York Jew character that. Oh wait, sorry. Let me getting y'all excited to see his New York Jew character. Once again, we're watching character work by President Kennedy's grandson, Jack Schlossberg. Here we go. New York Jew.
Can I help you? 1 second. I just take my seatbelt off. I always wear my seatbelt. I just want to address some of the criticism about me because people are saying that I'm making fun of other.
All right, wait. This should be called New York Jew with just a little bit of coke nose. He's got a little bit. This New York Jew is doing all kinds of cocaine and has been doing cocaine for years. And his nose, you can hear it.
Cultures, and I just want to say that I'm not making fun of anybody because I am Jewish and I grew up in New York City, and because I heard so many people talking like this my whole life, who I love. I love these people. They're my closest friends. All right, and so I love them, and I love them so much that I listen to how they talk. And when I go to sleep at night, I can hear them. And I have lots of people inside of my head talking to me, and they're telling me to say things, and not always are they a good idea. And so I'm losing my mind, and so these characters actually help me cope.
All right, so there you go. That's Jack Schlossberg. That's his Jewish guy, his New York Jew. People don't like that character. He's taking some heat for that one. I don't think the characters are particularly good, interesting, or what he's saying is funny. However, he's not doing anything wrong. He is not this. I push back on that. There is nothing offensive about sounding like people who sound a certain way. Unless we're all going to live in a world right now where we're going to pretend everybody sounds the same. Everybody sounds the same. There is absolutely no, because is that what you're asking us to do? Pretend that there's not differences? Okay, so you are going to admit that there are differences in the way we sound. Now what you're asking us is to not be allowed to comment on it. You're not even demanding that we don't comment negatively, because I could get behind that. Yeah, don't make fun of people for sounding different, but not comment at all, because that's all he's doing. He's just creating characters, and he's utilizing accents that are real, accents that exist in this world. And yet, he's a big racist. I don't know if he's a racist because he's a Kennedy. Those people are in a different category. They're like definitely like racist. Like shit they've been involved in is not good. But also, I think publicly they don't realize how complicated it is. And all the Kennedys publicly are like, we're the civil rights movement. That whole thing. They like to wrap themselves in that. But the rich white people in America for the last 60 years. So absolutely, they've probably done some shit that's pretty shady. But this guy's just a fool. This is just cringy. This is just like, oh, God. Nobody has any dignity anymore. Ugh. We got one more for you. This one's called Russian Stooge. This is another of Jack Schlossberg, who is John F. Kennedy's grandson. It's a Russian Stooge. It's another of his characters that he's doing on Instagram. This is, I don't know, he's trying to reinvent the political. These are political ads in that it is him as a Kennedy pushing this particular political point of view, and here's who you should vote for, and here's who I'm voting for as this character. But it's kind of a reinvention. It's different. It's the Instagram era, right? So this is, I mean, it is influencing people. He isn't my point is this, he is an influential person. He really is. Maybe not among you and not among me, but there are a group of people out there. He's got a lot of followers. People love the Kennedys, and the young Kennedys are always, oh, he's going to be something. So he's got followers, and he is influential. All right, so here's Russian Stooge. this character is called Russian Stooge, and this will be the last one that we'll show, although he's got a bunch of them. If you just find it on. Here we go. This is Russian Stooge. Okay. All right, let's do this.
Making stories. This is why I vote for RFK Jr. I am from Russia. He is hero of Russia because he says that the U.S. should give Putin everything he wants in the war in Europe and the Ukraine. He says the war is the fault of the President Biden.
Oh,
this is so good for Russia. And
oh my God, you guys. You guys. That accent's fucking strong. That's a really good Russian accent. That's good. I know, because I try to do Russian accents. Russian accents are hard. I work on it all the time with my kid. My kid is so embarrassed. Like, go to a movie. I'll be Russian, Dad. And he gets embarrassed. That's a very strong Russian accent. This is good. This is good. Kennedy must have grown up around a bunch of Russian people. Well, hold on.
welcome home to US. This is so funny to me because they are Russian spies and he is American presidential candidate. This is great. Go RFK Jr. I vote. You have my Russia's vote. You're a hero. This is me, Vlad. I just want to
All right, there you have it. So, I mean, I guess there's like levels to the Kennedy family. And trust me when I tell you this, just believe me, I'm an Irish Catholic from a big Union city. I understand the levels of the Kennedy family. Like there's like real Kennedys, and the real Kennedys are anyone that has any sort of blood sort of relation to either JFK, as does Jack Schlossberg, JFK or Jackie. If you are like Jackie, and that's it. So you got your Caroline, you had your JFK Jr., but he's dead in a plane crash. So that entire branch is nowhere to be found anymore. So all you have left when you're looking at like the top tier Kennedys is this guy. It's like this guy and his mom, I guess, Caroline. She's not she's the United States ambassador to Australia. That's a cushy one. That's a good one. That's a really good ambassadorship that you get. But there's a lot of hope for this guy. Now, in the other tiers of the Kennedy family in America, then you've got like, the second tier is RFK's people, where, Bobby Kennedy. So, and Bobby and his kids, and luckily for Bobby, he had like 40 kids before he died at 29. I'm not kidding. He died at like 50 or something. But point is this, Bobby Kennedy had like a shit ton of kids, and all of those kids are out there running around. And 9 times out of 10, when you hear of a famous Kennedy, that one comes from the Bobby Kennedy tree, whether it's, the documentary filmmaker, what's her name? Ronnie Kennedy or whatever Rami, whatever. She's kind of famous. And then you got a RFK Jr., you got him, and you got a whole bunch of people dying on ski slopes. That's them. They all come from the RFK tree. That's a very populated tree with a lot of branches, but it's not the tallest tree. The tallest tree is JFK and Jackie, those people. And that dude's it. He's it. JFK Jr. died in a plane crash. He never had kids. We never got, that's it for the top elite tour. That guy's got to turn into something. Otherwise, that entire branch of the Kennedy family is going to die. Which might be fine. I mean, I'm not sitting here going, oh, that's going to be, I'm just pointing out what I see. Again, the RFK branch of the Kennedy family tree and in the hierarchy is not as tall as the JFK branch, but it's just way more leaves. There's just way more I don't know what I'm doing. I've just talked myself into a corner. No clue what I'm talking about here. All right, what else do we have here? We covered Jack Schlossberg. We covered Christy Nome. What else do we have? Let's keep going. UFOs in the Senate. That's right. A whole bunch of senators are now on record saying that they believe that the U.S. Here, I'll read it to you. Fine. You don't believe me? I'll read it to you. Here's what it says. Top senators believe the U.S. Pop-ups. Top senators believe the U.S. secretly recovered UFOs. Huh? What have I been telling you people? Y'all getting distracted by, like, the shape of the former president's penis? I'm telling you, we got aliens among us. Has the U.S. government secretly retrieved exotic craft of non-human origin? Newly, by the way, this is from The Hill. This is not from, like, National Exposure or whatever. This is not from, like, the Star, where the headline next to it is alien baby born in Bristol. Nothing like that. Has the U.S. government secretly retrieved exotic craft of non-human origin? Newly declassified documents. Yeah, these is documents. They've been newly declassified, along with extraordinary legislation, illustrate how two successive Democratic Senate majority leaders appear to believe so. Now, they're talking about Schumer, who's in there now, and Schumer's been like, I don't know. I think there's something. Oh, my God. Was I just being anti-Semitic, imitating the way Chuck Schumer sounds? Because that's the way he sounds. Am I anti-Semitic now for making, an attempt at a Chuck Schumer impression? Are impressions illegal now? You're stealing their soul. You're not them. Why are you trying to sound like them? Somebody's going to complain like that. You're stealing their soul. Senator Chuck Schumer and the late Harry Reid. Now, Harry Reid is an interesting one because Harry Reid, long before anybody else was saying anything about UFOs, and, for like 50 years, anyone brings up UFO and it's like, hey, cuckoo, that. Harry Reid was like the first dude in a suit who seemed to have some power, who was like, no, not cuckoo. I represent Nevada. I've been to Area 51, and let me just tell you, not cuckoo. That was Harry Reid. Harry Reid's dead now. They poisoned him because he knew too much and he was willing to talk. But Chuck Schumer's also on board now. Also, let's see here. Schumer and Harry Reid were not alone in their focus on UFOs. The heavyweights received critical support and encouragement from a bipartisan group of high-profile senators over the years, including former fighter pilot and astronaut John Glenn, Ted Stevens of Alaska, Daniel Inouye of Hawaii, John McCain of Arizona, Joe Lieberman of Connecticut, Kristen Gillibrand of New York, and Vice Chairman Marco Rubio of Florida. Whoa, okay. But ain't nobody talking, nobody asking questions. If they really believe this, I think if you were an honest person, and you really believed that this was a thing, that we had this and the people weren't being told about it, how would you react? Like, would you, like, if you're Marco Rubio, let's say you're Marco Rubio, and you're in charge of this intelligence committee, and all of a sudden now you're one of these guys going, I think there's a chance I think we got stuff, and I have questions. Why aren't you asking the questions? Or why aren't you asking them more publicly? Now, before I condemn them, because I don't really want to do that, because I get it. I understand why you're not asking these questions more publicly. Same reason we can't have flying cars. We can't handle it. I'm telling you, the average person cannot handle if they were to wake up on a Tuesday morning and then they were told by their government that, hey, by the way, humanity, we're not the only thing. There's like another thing, and they've been watching us for years and years. We couldn't handle that. We could not handle. We're not capable of it. Sorry, I could handle it. No, you can't. You can't even handle having a reasonable conversation about the prospect that it might exist without going, no, you can't. People can't handle it. People can't handle shit like that. What would happen to religion? What would happen to people who are like, our God is the only God and he loves us? Okay, so who do these aliens have as a God? And can their God kick our God's ass? And what does that do to us as a people? That's why there's just way too many moving parts. So I'm not going to condemn. Do I believe that these senators are like, yeah, there's something there? Absolutely, I do. Absolutely, I believe they. Now, but I also am not mad at them for not saying anything, because I get it. I don't know. It'd be a good thing to reveal that information now. And that's probably been the reason they haven't revealed it for years, because I don't think this is something they just discovered during the pandemic. I think this is something that they've known since, well, probably the heyday of Project Blue Book, which was the first government. I'm not getting into this. We're not gonna do my late night creepy UFO show. I'm not gonna do it on. All I'm telling you is that they're real, and the people in the Senate are like, but we can't handle it. So there you go. Moving on. How about this one? Jerry Seinfeld seems to be in a bit of a tete-a-tete with Howard Stern. I don't know what this is about. Jerry Seinfeld is out there doing all kinds of press for his terrible, terrible movie Unfrosted that absolutely nobody is saying is any good. I still haven't seen it. Is it going to be like a goof? Like at some point, like in 10 years, yeah, let's get high and watch Jerry Seinfeld's awful movie. Like, is it that bad? Is it that bad? Or is it just, hey, Jerry's, doing a lot of press. Let's talk some shit on Jerry Seinfeld. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Have you seen it? Has anybody in the chat room seen that Jerry Seinfeld movie? Everybody that I've asked, everybody that I know, I'm like, you see that movie? Or like everybody. Like I'm standing in a mall, No, but like I've asked like 2 people. One was a 14-year-old boy, and the other was he. Nobody's seen it. Nobody's like, yeah, I don't want to see it. And yet everything I read about it is that it's terrible. I don't know. All right, moving on. What else do we have? Seinfeld versus Stern. So Seinfeld, I'll read you this story. Jerry Seinfeld is apologizing to Howard Stern. Apparently, Jerry Seinfeld went on a podcast that was being hosted by Dana Carvey. Is it Dana Carvey? And who's the one? There's one guy that I absolutely hate. David Spade. That's who it is. David Spade. David Spade is an asshole, you guys. Just so you know. I know you think, oh, what? He's Chris Farley's little guy. No, Chris Farley was a wonderful person. He was a warm-hearted, everybody gets a hug. Everybody, yeah, Chris Farley. That's who Chris Farley really was walking down the street. David Spade's an asshole. He thinks he's better than everybody else. I know somebody who worked very closely with David Spade for a very long period of time. And he has nothing to say. And by the way, it wasn't just David Spade. There were other people, All right, I had a friend who wrote on Saturday Night Live. He told David Spade stories about what an asshole he is. But he also goes out of his way to say that the other guys that were there too, they weren't assholes. The reason we're talking about David Spade here is because David Spade's kind of a dick. David Spade's kind of a jerk. He's a little pussy and he talks shit and, Anyway, moving on. Hey, that got ugly. All of a sudden, Pugs started whooping ass on David Spade for no reason. Jerry Seinfeld has now apologized to Howard Stern for comments that he made about the radio personality in a recent podcast interview. He included in this interview that Seinfeld felt that Stern lacked, quote, comedy chops. I agree with that. I don't think Howard Stern is funny. I think that Howard Stern's show at times was hysterical. I don't think he's funny. I think he's a great MC, a great master of ceremonies, a great leader of that show. Other people on that show were funny. Artie was hysterical. Jackie was hysterical. The stupid things that people said were often unintentionally hysterical, but that's not someone trying to be funny. Like Howard Stern's not on there going, hey, that's not what he does. So in this context, I understand what Jerry is saying. Howard Stern's not funny. He's just not. But he's presiding over his own creation that is in toto very funny. But is he funny? And no. Do I think Howard Stern is a better stand-up comedian than Jerry Seinfeld? No. And what a weird dick measuring contest for Jerry Seinfeld to bring up in the first place. But he went there. And now he's apologizing for it. Jerry Seinfeld has apologized to Howard Stern for comments he made, calling him, saying that he lacked comedy chops. Seinfeld says now, here's a quote, I really feel bad for what I said about my friend Howard Stern in a conversation with David Spade and Dana Carvey, talking about the glut of comedy podcasts. That's what they do. We're talking about how there's so many comedy podcasts. He was referencing his appearance on Carvey and Spade's Fly on the Wall podcast. Okay. While discussing the popularity of podcast culture with Carvey and Spade, Seinfeld asked the two comedians Howard Stern invented this, right? Which is not true, but okay, I understand in a greater sense how that could appear to be true. So Jerry Seinfeld said, Howard Stern invented this, right? Just comedians sitting around talking? No, he didn't. And then he goes on to say, but we're better than him now, aren't we? Seinfeld continued. Howard is interesting. Howard is a great interviewer, but comedy chops? I mean, can we speak candidly? Spade said, sure, while Carvey said, no, as they both laughed. Well, I think this is Seinfeld again. Well, he got Robin, and Robin is a big part of how he's funny. That was Dana Carvey. Carvey said of Stern's co-host Robin Quivers. What is that? What is that's like some weird gymnast. It's okay, it's true, but doesn't that seem like, well, the black woman is why the white Jewish man is funny? I don't know. It's true, but I don't know. Dana Carvey, that wouldn't be the first one I would go to. Like, she's the straight woman. Dana Carvey. The role of Robin on the Howard Stern show is not to be funny. The role of Robin is to be the sensible one. When everything else is going, now look, these radio shows, I know you think this is probably, you never thought about it this way, but this is kind of the business I'm in. There are roles, there are slots, just like on a football team. Robin's role is to be the voice of reason. So she's not funny. I wouldn't give her credit for that. Dana Carvey, what are you doing? It says here, yeah. So here's what Seinfeld said. Seinfeld says, yeah, they're all great. But let's face it, Howard, he's been outflanked by some very, and yourselves, I mean, this show is the best comedy podcast. Howard's been outflanked by some very funny and much funnier people. Seinfeld added, because you guys play nice together. It's smooth. You're not jumping on each other, which is annoying to listen to. Seinfeld told TMZ that he meant to say, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about here. All right, whatever. Jerry Seinfeld says that went on a podcast. He said that Howard Stern wasn't funny and that there were much funnier comedic podcasts out there. And now he's walking that back and he's apologizing. And what he's saying is that Howard invented this and now there's just too many. Whatever. Who cares? You people. A couple of near billionaires bickering over whose dick is bigger. I've been swearing a lot. This has been a very profane show. You know what it is? It's this dichotomy. It's this battle that's going on. There's like this, so like I'm in like kind of a crappy mood, but I'm trying to force myself to be in a good mood because we got a big weekend coming up. That's going to be fun. And it's creating this persona today. The stream of consciousness. Oh, it is the Whitewater Rapids, my stream of consciousness today. It's very violent. The sea was angry that day, my friend. The stream was angry that day, my friend. 1/3 of Americans claim they're in constant pain. That seems about right. I mean, I don't know. 1/3, because here's how I look at this. Does that seem like a lot? Yeah, but also there's a lot of Americans over 40 years old. And once you're over 40 years old, you will live with some constant pain. And I'm saying this right now, and some of you might be like, that's not true. You're just not really thinking about it. It's just you've had this ache or this pain or this thing that happens when you move this way. You've had that for years, and now it's just a regular part of your life, so you don't think about it. But yeah, new study, 1/3 of Americans say that they live their lives in constant pain. Now, constant pain is not, I'm dying. I can't live like that. I mean, constant pain is just like a throb or an ache or something. I'll tell you this. A couple of months back, I was doing my son trying to perfect his long snapping for high school football. And so I did thousands and thousands of long snaps. And before we would do each round of snaps, we would play catch in a different way. We would throw the ball to each other. Well, I can show you. Here's the actual ball. So we toss the ball to each other like this, okay? Right? So it's like we play long toss like this while spinning the ball. Spinning, it's how you learn to long snap, to spin it tight. So it's just a way of throwing it, spinning it, spiraling it like that. I probably did that 10,000 times playing catch back and forth. I no longer have use of these muscles. These muscles, I haven't been able to use them since. They're never going to heal. I pulled them doing this weird muscle movement with my 14-year-old kid. And now, I don't know. Now I wake up in the middle of the night. I wake up screaming in pain because I tried to move a funny way in my sleep. And those muscles don't work anymore. I mean, that's constant. So I've got and again, it's not debilitating pain. It's just some form of constant pain. 1/3 of us. It's part of, I think, an aging society. There's a lot more people. Actually, I don't know. Actually, I was dumb. I'm just going to say something dumb. Are there? Yeah, we're going to move on. All right, let's keep going. Let's see here. You know what? I'm looking at the time. I got to go. I got a lot of stuff. I got to run around. I got to do stuff. Let's do this. Okay, so we got a Mavs game. We got a Thunder game. Mavs are Mavs and Stars games both tonight. The Mavs are looking to even up the series 1-1. Stars looking to do the same thing. Mavs in Oklahoma City, and the Stars are at home, so good for them. And then I wanted to mention this story too, because I saw this story, and I need to correct some things that maybe I had said that were incorrect. So we were talking about the Dallas Wings. Actually, I don't think we've mentioned the Dallas Wings because I'm not sure I knew the name of the Dallas Wings until just now or just earlier today. Actually, that's not true. I'd heard of them. The Dallas Wings are Dallas's NBA team, WNBA team. One of my big issues with the WNBA publicly is not anything about women can't play. It's not misogynistic. I think it's being set up to look bad. I have an issue with these teams. Like in Chicago, they used to play at the United Center where the Bulls play. And, you know, the Chicago team wasn't drawing 5,000 people per game in a place that's built to hold 25, right? So my complaint had always been, man, let's build them stadiums. Let's encourage this league, but let's not jump straight to 30,000 feet arenas. I mean, there was years and years of the NBA matriculating through college gymnasiums. They didn't have homes. The NBA in 1965 didn't play an 18,000 seat arena. So I think it's unfair to this women's league that every time you show a game, there's 98% empty seats. It doesn't look good. It's not good for the league, and it causes. So I want them to play in smaller places. And then I saw this story today, and this is where I say I need to apologize, because it seems to me that the Dallas team, the Dallas Wings, are doing exactly that. I didn't know that. I thought the Dallas Wings, I assumed that they played at the American Airlines Center. I assumed that they played there. They don't. They play in Arlington. And I guess today the Chicago Sky with Angel Reese, you know, she's that controversial LSU girl. Chicago Sky and Angel Reese are coming to town for tonight's game. I believe it is the opening game of the season for the WNBA. And the Dallas Wings have sold out. They have sold out their arena. And their arena is going to be rocking with people who are going to have an incredible experience. The energy is going to be great. It's not going to seem like, am I a dork for liking this? Because that's how you feel when you go to a stadium and it's only you and like 2,000 other people and a bunch of empty seats. You start to wonder, is this not cool? So you create that, and that's what the Dallas Wings have done. Dallas Wings announced sellouts for opening games against the Chicago Sky. I don't believe this has anything to do with Angel Reese coming to town. She's not Caitlin Clark. She's just whatever. She was like the 8th pick overall or something in the draft. She's not a game-changing presence in the sport. I think this is a sellout because people will support it. If it's going to be in a 6,000 seat arena, you can sell out a 6,000 seat arena. Can't sell out a 28,000 seat arena. Anyway, I thought that was great news for the Dallas Wings. The WNBA team announced Wednesday the tickets for the first 2 regular season games of the 2024 season are sold out. They expect capacity crowds at College Park Center in Arlington. College Park Center in Arlington. I had to look that up. 6,400 seats. Oh, nope, 6,400 seats. Good for them. That's what they sold out. And again, people going to this game, a little girl, I don't know, maybe a little boy. It doesn't need to be gender specific, but let's just say, somebody going to this game for the first time as a kid tonight, or maybe it's tomorrow. I don't know. I'm not that into it. But somebody going to this game for the first time is going to walk into an electric atmosphere. And that is going to make them want to go to another game and another game and another game. So good. Good for the Dallas Wings. Playing in a suitable stadium. One that we get pride in this league. We can grow it. We got lines out the door. It's standing room only. Yeah, let's do a few seasons of that before you build the 30,000 seat arena. We're out of time, folks. All right, I do apologize. And by the way, I also want to point out that I have no interest in going to a Dallas women's basketball game. But I would also follow that up before you judge me by saying I have no interest in going to a Dallas men's basketball game. I do not enjoy going to games. I don't. The only games that I don't enjoy going to games unless it's like, Skybox, Super Bowl. Yeah, but that ain't happening. Ain't nobody, that ain't happening. So I don't want to go to a game. I don't like the parking. I don't like the people. I don't like the lines for the bathroom. I can watch these important games on TV and get more out of it than if I was there in person. That's how I roll. All right. Thank you, folks. That's going to do it. That is the High Noon Rant for today. I appreciate y'all coming by. We will be back tomorrow. Again, you want to help out the show, that'd be great. Please. I think we came really close to the goal. We still didn't get there. We didn't come close enough for it to be comfortable. So if you want to help out today, that'd be great. Got to make the bill payments and all of that. We'll be back. We'll go through for another month. We're gonna, the month, we're okay. We're going to be okay. And thank you to everybody. But we're not there yet. All right. That's going to be it. We're out. I got to run. I love you guys. We'll see you. Share, like, subscribe. See, I keep forgetting to say that. Everybody's like, you got to do that. I'm like, I know. Share, like, subscribe. Appreciate you. Bye, folks.